Well, good evening, everyone. You are listening to Red Pill 78. I am the corruption detector, and this is your Red Pill news. Please excuse my throat, you guys. I am still scratchy. I'm having some trouble talking, but there's a couple of really important stories that I wanted to get out to you guys today. First of all, for anybody who didn't join us yesterday on Comfy Sunday, we've got some new footage from former Governor Rod Blagojevich, and he is talking about the deal that was made to secure the former president's Senate seat when he came into the Oval Office. Also, there has been a verdict handed down in the Harvey W case. That's right, the former producer and Lothario in Hollywood, Harvey W, has been convicted. We're going to talk about the results of that. Also, another criminal-related story, hate hoaxer Jussie Smollette is back in court, and it is not going to turn out well for him. And finally, corrupt Judge Amy Berman Jackson is refusing to recuse herself from the Roger Stone case. So we're going to go over all of these things and more, guys, and we'll be right back after a brief word from our sponsor. Well, friends, what can you say about gold right now? Well, you can say it's zooming ahead. It's up around 24% since this time last year, and it's been projected to reach between 1,600 or maybe even 2,000 according to CNBC. Now, keep in mind, all of this was before the COVID-19 outbreak in China. And with so much uncertainty at the moment, the stock market wobbling, gold in your IRA or 401k just makes sense. Why? Because it acts like a balance. If stocks fall, gold is there to be your safety net. You don't buy insurance as your house is burning down, you buy it before it happens, and the same is true with gold. You can get it now before the price rockets even farther into the stratosphere. This is the breakthrough that lots of people have been waiting years for, and it's fallen into your lap right at this moment. It's quick and easy to sort out, and Noble Gold does all the heavy lifting for you. So call them today, or call them right now at 877-646-5347 and get your insurance pinned down. And remember, when you support my sponsors, you support this channel. Well, guys, thanks for sticking around. First of all, today, former Governor Rod Blagojevich is speaking out. He was on Water's World over the weekend, and Rod has always maintained his innocence. And in this interview, he said that Hussein Renegade began the whole conversation about his vacant Senate seat and sent a middleman to me the night he was elected president, so wasting no time to get that seat filled. Now, former Illinois Governor Rod Blago Blagojevich told Fox News host Jesse Waters that it was actually Renegade himself who began the entire conversation about that vacant seat. Now, Blago was prosecuted, convicted, and sentenced to 14 years in prison for trying to sell Renegade's vacant Senate seat. But it turns out that Renegade himself did the dirty work, sent somebody there the very night he was elected. Now, President Trump, of course, last week commuted Blago's sentence after he served more than 8 years in prison. And he said directly, President Renegade began the whole conversation because he sent someone to me as a middleman, a mediator, not unusual in politics, on the night he was elected president, to say that he would like to talk about his choice for the Senate and to see what I might be willing to ask for. Let's go ahead and take a look at the clip itself.
All right. You've obviously paid a big price. You know what you did was wrong. You served your time. Crazy sentence to begin with, but that's all in the past. Did you ever talk to Barack Obama about this Senate seat? Did he have any knowledge about what was going on or not?
Well, first of all, Jesse, yes, a crazy sentence for things that aren't crimes, for things that are routine politics. And that particular charge was reversed by the appellate court. They rightfully said it was routine political log rolling, horse trading. President Obama began the whole conversation because he sent someone to me as a middleman, a mediator, not unusual in politics.
Right.
On the night he was elected president, to say that he'd like to talk about his choice for the Senate and to see what I might be willing to ask for. Political horse trading, not what those corrupt prosecutors said it was. And
okay, so who was this individual that was the liaison with Barack Obama?
His name was Tom Balinoff. He's a big union leader.
Okay, so it was Barack Obama's understanding that his liaison was going to work with you to appoint the guy that was going to fill Barack Obama's Senate seat, and Barack Obama, incoming president, wanted to know what was going to be in exchange for the seat. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he was basically, asking whether the emissary represented that President-elect Obama was interested in a candidate for the Senate, and he asked, what would you be interested in, those kinds of things, and we began a discussion over the telephone on what we might or might not ask for as part of a horse deal. Right. Routine politics, not anything corrupt or illegal, like they tried to like they've said it was, and how it isn't at all the truth.
When you were saying money was involved in the exchange for the Senate seat that Barack Obama was aware of, was that a campaign contribution directed at you, or where was this money coming from and where was it going to go?
So I'll be the first to say that the idea of making a deal like this, trading some type of compensation for the appointment of a Senate seat, it sounds pretty dirty, and it doesn't sound like something we want our elected officials to be engaging in. But as former Governor Blagojevich said, it was routine. This is how they do politics, and this is why we live in the swamp. Now, the fact that they turned it around on him and tried to use it to put him in prison for 14 plus years, it just shows exactly how dirty they are willing to play in this game of politics, especially once you move up from a swamp like Illinois to a swamp like Washington, D.C. Now, Blagojevich said that Barry lied when he denied having any knowledge about Blago's efforts to sell that Senate seat after he won the presidency in 2008. He said, "I had no contact with the governor or his office, and so I was not aware of what was happening," President-elect Renegade said in a statement in December of 2008. But Barry's senior advisor, David Axelrod, contradicted Barry's statements on Blago and that vacant Senate seat. He said, "I know he's talked to the governor, and there are a whole range of names, many of which have surfaced, and I think he has a fondness for a lot of them." David Axelrod said this back in an interview in 2008. And then Axelrod walked back that statement as cover for Renegade. He said, "I was mistaken when I told an interviewer last month that the president-elect has spoken directly to Blagojevich about that Senate vacancy. They did not then, or at any time, discuss the subject." And of course, Barry came out of that scandal unscathed, even though it was his idea to sell that seat and to do that political horse trading with former Governor Blagojevich. Now, we know the FBI covered for Barry. They hid those 302s with the interview with him about Blago, and clearly they wanted to make it look like he had nothing to do with it. Now, the only reason I can think that they would want to have it appear that there was no contact is so that it looks like Blago was soliciting for the sale of that Senate seat, when clearly from Blago's own testimony, it was an emissary from Barry himself who came and offered something in exchange for the appointment of a particular person. So next time somebody tells you that this president escaped unscathed without any scandals or plagued by any issues like that, this is one thing we can certainly point to. Now, again, I said over the weekend, I'm very interested to see what Rod has to say to the president and to the FBI and to anybody who's willing to listen about the illegal activities of that young Illinois senator who would become president of the United States. 2 terms of insanity. But now, here we are. Blago has been set free, and I'm sure that President Trump is going to be all ears. Well, guys, that's right. It is a glorious day. Let's take a look at this tweet from my good friend Methods. He says, "They think you will follow the stars."
And we will pick up our breaking news coverage right now. A jury has found movie mogul Harvey Weinstein guilty on 2 counts, including a criminal sex act and 3rd-degree rape.
I'd like to thank Harvey Weinstein, the Punisher, that's his nickname.
It's a new day because Harvey Weinstein has finally been held accountable for crimes he committed.
Harvey, thank you for killing whoever you had to kill to get me up here today.
And to Harvey Weinstein, the tough guy on the playground with the biggest heart.
Weinstein is a vicious serial sexual predator who used his power to threaten, rape, assault, trick, humiliate, and silence his victims.
Harvey Weinstein, Bob Weinstein, God bless him.
My friends at Miramax for making this film, especially Harvey, and
He has been found guilty of criminal sexual act in the 1st degree.
And then Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey and Bob Weinstein. Everyone.
Thank you, Harvey Weinstein.
I want to thank Harvey and Bob Weinstein.
my agent, Kevin Uvain, and God, Harvey Weinstein.
Weinstein, with his manipulation, his resources, his attorneys, his publicists, and his spies, did everything he could to silence the survivors.
Especially the bomber Weinstein, my godfather.
With the jury's unanimous statement that Harvey Weinstein is guilty of sexual assault and rape.
Harvey Weinstein, who believed in us and made this movie.
Harvey, thank you to Harvey.
Harvey Weinstein for his commitment.
And to Harvey Weinstein.
You heard on the witness stand the reasons why a number of these women survivors did not come forward. They were deathly afraid of Harvey Weinstein.
I have to thank Harvey Weinstein. And thank you, sir.
And of course, Harvey, who first took me on 20 years ago when I was a mere child sensation.
Not hard to believe why he got away with it for so long, because he was the deal maker, the power broker, the man that you went to when you wanted a role in Hollywood. The only question is, what were you willing to do to get it? All right, guys, and next, breaking news. Harvey W. has been convicted of sex assault, but he's been cleared of the top charges. However, he can still face up to 25 years in prison. Now, this was a verdict that was just handed down this morning. The jury of 5 women and 7 men took several days to deliberate, and he was acquitted on the most serious charge, which was predatory assault, which carried a potential life sentence. But he does face up to 25 years in prison, and sentencing will be held on March 11th. Don't forget, he is a 67-year-old man, and he was immediately taken into custody after Judge James Burke revoked his bail, so they are not playing any games. Now, the verdict follows weeks of often harrowing and excruciatingly graphic testimony from a string of accusers who told of a series of acts that they were forced to participate in, and it is really the lowest of the low. Now, the verdict is seen as long overdue, considering how long Harvey was prowling around Hollywood, basically having his pick of victims, also being assisted by a whole host of top-level people throughout the industry. But now, finally, we are getting some justice, and I think that it kind of gives us a bit of hope in terms of what we're going to see in Hollywood. Also, don't forget, Harvey definitely has some stories of his own that he can tell, so I think it remains to be seen. Is his sentence going to be reduced by the fact that he's going to give testimony on other big-name Hollywood Lotharios? We're just going to have to wait and see. All right, guys, next I want to talk about another whistleblower. You know, we had Nate Kane on the program over the weekend. We just lost Phil Haney in Northern California. Well, there is another government whistleblower named Don Lutters, and he has stated that there have been many lives lost and billions of dollars wasted due to the mismanagement of government records. And you can look at actual cases and see how the failure of the government to properly manage their record systems have directly resulted in the deaths of many, many Americans. Now, if you remember back in 2017, there was a man at a church in Texas. He came in, and 26 people never came out. Now, he should not have been able to buy the weapons that he used that day, and the reason he was able to get them is because the Air Force failed to properly maintain its records. Now, there were actually 6 occasions when military officials failed to send Devin Kelly's records to the FBI while the Air Force investigated, court-martialed, and imprisoned him for abusing his wife and his stepson. Had the FBI received those records, then they would have known that he should not have had the ability to purchase those weapons, and people would have been saved. Now, this is a sprawling story. It's written by Ivan Penchikov. It features the man that you just saw up there, Don Lutters, but it details the failure of the Defense Information Systems Agency and their 5015.2 electronic records management software applications. Now, there is criteria that is set up in order to host, distribute, verify, and look over all government records. And the thing about it is, that they've never worked properly. Don Lutters was part of the team that created and designed this software. There was a lot of money that was made off of it, but because people were making so much money, it didn't matter to them that they never worked properly. So now Don tried a number of times to blow the whistle on this situation because he saw what was happening. He saw that people were losing their lives, and he saw things like the mismanagement of records during the Gulf War Syndrome episode, when many records were destroyed or lost, and they didn't have the ability to prove what was happening to these people, and a lot of guys never got the answers they needed. He went to several different Inspector General related agency offices trying to blow the whistle. He tried to go to his company, IBM. They didn't care, and in the end, basically, he was brushed off by a sitting congressman, Representative Barbara Comstock, and her staff after he had previously been in contact with them. So this is a sprawling article. It's very deep. It goes into a lot of different things, and I'm going to be leaving the link in the description below so that you can go ahead and read it yourself. But very, very important. And don't think that's the end of the story. There has been significant professional pressure put on Don as a result of him trying to do the right thing. So if there is any other whistleblowers that I think we need to be supporting and looking into, this guy right here is one of them. All right, and finally, D.C. Judge Amy Berman Jackson has denied Roger Stone's request to be removed from his case with a full court response. Now, the corrupt and wicked judge released her decision yesterday, Sunday. She defended her record in her denial of Roger Stone's request, which is a complete and utter joke. The far-left judge has a record of vicious decisions against Republican defendants, and she is truly a vicious and angry person. Here is a copy of her decision. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. All right, so in assessing Section 455, she has applied this objective standard. Recusal is required when a reasonable and informed observer would question the judge's impartiality. I think that is exactly what's taking place here. And then she goes on and quotes some case law and why she should not be removed, why she is definitely not partial in any other respect. Now, don't forget that Roger Stone has an appeal for a new case because of the clear impartiality which was not present in one of the jurors. That one juror stepped up and had some stuff to say afterwards, and I want to say that I even heard that Amy Berman Jackson praised her. Now, Judge Jackson goes on to say that there are several reasons why the recusal is not warranted. It says, first of all, the court did not make any finding about the pending motion for a new trial, much less a categorical one. The motion raised questions concerning the completeness of one juror's responses during the jury selection process, and it speculates about exposure to prejudicial extra record material during deliberations. So if this juror lied during the course of her jury selection and she was partial, and then she sat as the leader of this jury and was able to influence all of the people who were supposed to be impartial as jurors on this trial, clearly, to me, that really does sound like a really good reason to go ahead and get that new trial going. And if that is the case, and on top of that, we do have a clear record of Amy Berman Jackson being vicious towards Republicans in her court, people who are not Democrats coming before her. Quite troubling that Amy Berman Jackson is going to have the last word in this case. I think that Roger Stone's lawyers have his work cut out for him, because if she does end up presiding over the second trial to take place here in this court, I don't think that the outcome is going to be much different for Roger Stone. Well, guys, a bit of bittersweet news today. Some good, some bad, some best yet to come. Hopefully, we will get the answers we're looking for in these months ahead. So, as always, want to remind everybody about the contest. When we hit 200,000 subscribers, I am now going to be giving away two $200 gift cards to 2 lucky winners. All you have to do to enter is like, comment, share, and make sure you're subscribed with the notification bells on, because when I introduce your name in that video, you're going to have to get a hold of me. So as always, this has been Red Pill 78. I am the Corruption Detector, and this was your Red Pill News. Good luck, everyone, and God bless. Hey guys, it's Red Pill. Just one more thing. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone who has taken the time to support this channel. If you'd like to see some ways that you can support the channel, you can always check the show notes in the pinned comment of this video below. Whether you like, whether you share, whether you make sure that your notifications are on, any way that you support this channel means so much to me. I could not be doing this without you, and I could not do it without your help. Without people like you, this channel would not exist, so thank you so much to everyone for all of their many means of support. Don't forget to check out the merchandise store that is also in the pinned comment, and I will see you guys next time.